Welcome back to the show. Radio Row coverage from Super Bowl 48 continues here on 940 WINZ, the sports animal. I'm Jeff DeForrest, and a pleasure to be joined by one of the toughest sons of guns that ever ran a football in the National Football League. This guy would get the rock. There'd be 11 guys all over him. He would carry them on his back like that kid in the neighborhood that you knew that nobody could tackle. Jamal Lewis joins us here on the program. Jamal, how are you? Good to have you on the show.
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Good time, just trying to enjoy the festivities and just, take it all in and trying to stay warm at the same time.
All right, makes some sense. Yeah. I mean, well, you're accustomed to this a little bit. You know, when you were going down to the shore there to get crab cakes in Maryland, you caught that breeze off the ocean.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm used to playing in some cold weather. Coming out of school, I always wanted to go to a cold weather team because I always thought that cold weather teams win championships.
All right, let me think here. I'm guessing you like Marshawn Lynch over Noshawn Marino. He's more your type of guy that is. You might have showed Lynch some of these moves, because he seems like he stopped for a 1-yard loss, and the next thing you know, it's not like Barry Sanders running back and forth. Boom, right up the middle, carries 3 guys on his back, gets another 6 yards.
Yeah, I think, man, he just brings great power, great explosion. He keeps his knees and legs moving. As a running back, that's a golden rule, and that's what I always did was try to keep my legs moving and keep them pumping. If you can do that, you'll be surprised at how many tackles you can break, and that's what he does, and he attacks defenders. He attacks his opponent. He attacks the line of scrimmage, and I love to watch him run just because he runs with a passion, and he runs the ball the way it needs to be ran, and you don't see that too much anymore out of a lot of running backs these days.
It's a little bit of a lost art. Now who's that on? Is it on the coaches? Is it on the running backs themselves? Because the philosophies of the game have changed, and I don't know if they're going to come back to defense and running the football. They might, though, if the Seahawks end up winning the championship.
Oh, yeah. I think there's more. It's not really on the coaches. I think it's more on the players and just, the upcoming and the development of a running back. A lot of running backs, they have they have good skills. They run off good talent and run off instinct, but at the same time, they're not using the proper technique in how to run the football in a way to actually do it and to gain much success out of it. So, but like you said, the Seahawks, if they come in, they win, I think you'll see an evolution of the game, not really going all the way back, but at the same time, they'll realize that asset of a good running back.
Jamal Lewis, great star with the Ravens, here with us on 940 WINZ, the sports animal, live coverage from Radio Row, Super Bowl 48. What happened to Ray this year?
Ray Rice?
Yeah.
I just think it's just a system, man. It's a system. Running outside zone and trying to master that, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Zone blocking and, trying to figure that out. That comes with a lot of study, comes with a lot of repetition. And nowadays with practice for a offensive team getting ready for a game, I doubt they spend a lot of time on the run game. So that kind of shows that they're not getting the repetition and getting what they need out of the run game because they're not really putting a lot into it. So I don't really fault Ray Rice. I think that he needs to change up a few things. I think that he needs to go back to the drawing board and kind of study a little more and do a little extra to add to what he, the gift that he has to run the ball.
Well, it's not like the Ravens don't have a little bit of a history of struggling with the running game while having a great talent at running back because it was Stevie Wonder time when you were running the football. There wasn't a whole lot of daylight to run to.
No, it wasn't. But I didn't, and I went through probably 12 quarterbacks too. So
yeah,
that was the whole difference. But when they came in to face us, they knew they was coming in to stop the run game, and they was going to make us throw. So that kind of made it tough for me for years. But still, it's all about plugging the hole, taking what they give you, and just trying to be patient and wait for the home run because it'll come. So that's what Coach Coletto always told me, the offensive line coach, hey, you want to run the daylight, but at the same time, don't look for daylight. It'll come because just hit it where it's supposed to be.
It's pretty dark there. I mean, they really struggle with the offensive line. Do you feel like throwing a brick at the screen when you're watching football and you see some guy dancing before he hits the hole?
Oh, yeah. But it's just, the technique and the fundamentals has just been thrown out sometimes, and they just run wild and just do what they want to do. But, there is a technique and there is a right way to do it.
Joe Flacco takes the team to the Super Bowl a year ago, and had a little bit of a shot, I guess, to get back there again, which came as somewhat of a surprise. But, they ended up falling short. Many people put the blame on his salary. And, this is going to happen. I mean, if you're a quarterback, Russell Wilson wins a Super Bowl, all of a sudden that next contract, if it isn't going to be sweet enough already, is gargantuan. And now you got the salary cap factoring in. I mean, is that a detriment to a team? I'm sure you guys are thinking the quarterback's making too much money to begin with, but do you think eventually there'll be some change there where quarterbacks will be maybe more like Brady and say, hey, I'll sacrifice some money, but make sure you get me Wes Welker back on the team?
Yeah, because you can get all the money. You can get all the money in the world, but if you don't have the tools and the assets to go out there and get the job done and throw to because of cash restraints or cap restraints within a team, then you're doing your team an injustice, and you're not doing it for the right reasons. You're just doing it for the money. But I think that that'll kind of fall more on the organization and how they allocate funds and how they spread it around. And that's the uniqueness of a good organization, is being able to go out, find the right players with what you have, and that can fit your system and do what you need them to do within your system. And that's what it's all about. And that's where the craftiness comes in at the general manager spot and the scouting spots, is trying to find that diamond in the rough that they can get for real cheap, but he can get the job done.
Jamal Lewis with us here on 940 WINZ, and we're covering Radio Row. Super Bowl 48 game coming up on Sunday. We'll have it for you on the radio station. All right, XpertEval.com?
Yeah, XpertEval.com is basically a company I put together because we saw a gap within the high school recruiting area where these kids, there was so much in
So it's not evil, it's eval.
It's eval,
as in evaluate.
Like evaluation. Yeah, because basically.
I thought you were like a sorcerer now, and you were just eliminating evil, which I think would be a noble cause also.
Yeah, no, but just what we was just talking about, the fundamentals. They've left the game, and it all starts in the youth level. So what I did was put together some former players like Willie McGinnis, Cordell Stewart, Jamie Duke, Sam Gash, Steve Atwater, Ray Buchanan, guys at different positions that's played at a high level at different levels, and they can give their insight. They can give their unbiased opinion on players at those positions, and let them know where their weaknesses are, what they need to work on, and so they can actually get out there and show some progress within the next season. So it's mainly a developmental company, and like I said, we just offer our feedback to these high school kids and our experiences, and so they can develop and not get fleeced by trainers and camps and combines, and just so the parent knows where their kids stand and within the developmental process.
What's the tougher transition to make, high school to college or college to the pros?
I think the college to the pros is harder because, it's just not going to play football. It's business, and it's a job now. It's just not, something that you do. It's, it's the way of life now, So I think that was the biggest transition, and trying to handle the business life and everything that brings. And, it's kind of like you're all grown up now, That's basically what going from college to the pros is. So I think that's the biggest transition.
How receptive are the people to the advice you give them on XpertEval.com?
The kids, they are receptive, but, sometimes when you're giving, real insight, and you're telling somebody the truth, which that's what coaches do out here.
Well, we hate it when they tell us stuff about the show. I can tell you that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But,
what do you mean I stink?
But at the same time, you know what? You always have to go back. You always have to self-evaluate and find out what did you do last year that you can correct and do better this coming up year. And that's what being a professional is all about. That's why it's only 1,800 guys or so that's in the NFL every year, and they get selected to play this game. And those are the guys that's willing to be coached and willing to listen and willing to just work and do whatever it takes to get better.
Well, Jamal, we thank you so much for stopping by. Always enjoyed your career and your playing and the toughness that you brought to the table at the running back position. And I'm sure you're going to be very successful with this evaluation configuration that you have. XpertEval.com. Great idea for your high school kids, especially South Florida, hot recruiting area, a lot of talent down there. Maybe you can improve and make that big next step by taking advantage of the expertise of guys like Jamal Lewis. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Hey, thanks for having me.